All right, so moving on to when to decide to shift strategy in business.
And that's
The answer is, who knows?
a question without a great answer. There's so many examples that we brought up on previous episodes where people have been too slow to shift. I think Blockbuster versus Netflix is
story,
probably like the most obvious, where Blockbuster either, I don't even know if they ever did shift, but if they ever did, it was so late that it didn't matter at all. But they were in this incredibly powerful position. They saw the writing on the wall. They saw the internet coming. They were still earning money, and that was the biggest problem. They were earning money. They were profitable. Even though Netflix was starting to send out videos, people were still coming into the brick and mortar stores. And they looked at it as like, do we give up this revenue?
And I've talked ad nauseum about the TV industry. That's the same exact conundrum they're in right now too, is they're making a lot of money with the old way of doing things, and it would cost a lot of money to essentially, sabotage your viewership for the future of digital and things like that. But to your point, like a Blockbuster just wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, and then, in some other circumstances, actually the CAA powerhouse book here, Mike Ovitz, was too early in getting into the direct-to-consumer satellite business. And basically the very early stages of what would have turned into like an early Hulu and early Netflix online. And it blew up. So they created this thing, and it essentially, in hindsight, was like, we were too early because we had all this money invested into it. It takes a lot of time and energy to do it, but people weren't ready for another 10 years. So even though they were on the right track, they were the earliest ones to get to it. They went out of business because the market wasn't ready to support that yet, and you can't spend a decade blowing money hoping that it goes well. So from my perspective, all of that is to say, we see opportunities to do things right now. We talk about it all the time. This show being one of them. We have a marketing agency that is going well, and we really love our work and we really love our clients, but we enjoy doing content, and we see that content originals are going to be probably a larger piece of what we need to do later moving forward. So let's jump onto it. This has been our investment. It's an investment in our time. It's an investment in set and some of our employees here and camera equipment, what have you. But should we be, doing 5 shows a week and putting those pilots out there? At what point is it going too all in on the new thing and leaving good money on the table? I don't know.
Yeah, and I hate to keep on repeating myself on the show, but I guess the only answer is an educated guess and a gut feeling, right? How do you, unfortunately in business, entrepreneurship, you can go back to math and say 10 plus 10 equals 20, but there's never a right answer. I think if you're searching for that right answer, is it 1 show, is it 2 shows, is it 3 shows? Same with Buffer, do we post 72 times a week, post 35 times a week? Well, let's try both and see how they both work. So I think it has to be just constant experimentation. The same way with a cook is so I add a cup of, lemon juice or 2 cups of this recipe. Let's see. Let me try to cook it up and see what the end result is.
Yeah, and I think, for thus far, our comfort level has been, let's try something and let's see if we can sell it. And I love that because usually that will force us into whatever new venture we're doing at the baseline is profitable immediately, which is great. Now, Amazon was not profitable for...
Twitter still not profitable.
Right. And now Amazon, Jeff Bezos is the 5th richest guy in the world or somewhere top 5 something. And that's the type of big idea where that you're just going to be taking venture capital and debt.
That is, from the business coach and mentorship standpoint, I will be completely honest, and you and I have talked about this at length, that's where I tap out in terms of when you have that idea, and if you can get $100,000 from somebody to be a small percentage owner of it, for you to pour gasoline on it and go, that is the decision that I would really love to hear more feedback from people that have done it, because I think you and I both agree there's been situations where if somebody came in on a 20% basis and gave us a ton of money, it's like we would murder it with it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And
But when do you make those decisions? You know?
well, and I mean, I can't tell if it's just because that's where my interests lie fundamentally, and even all the way through school was like those types of areas. But I like being the ambassador of people's money, and I look at that. I look at that even with our clients. Like they're trusting us with all this money.
With the budget, yeah.
And I'm usually the one to say like, give us this money, because we're going to take good care of it.
ROI will be in your favor. Yeah.
We're going to give you all this other stuff, and we get to keep some of the money ourselves, obviously. That's how we stay in business. But I look at it less of like, we're earning this money, and more of like, we're the caretakers of your money network or team, and we're going to give you all this stuff in return. So at the end of the day, you're super happy about it. And I look at it very similarly with venture money.
Yeah.
Because everybody with venture money basically is like,
give me a percentage return, please.
yeah, take good care of my money.
Yep.
You need it. You have a vision. Go and do your thing, and I get a return. So the same way I look at our clients is the same way that I would look at somebody on the venture side of things, to say, we're going to be an incredible ambassador of your money. We're going to do so good with it, and we're going to get you such a good return that you're going to be begging us to take more money, because it's hard to find people that can take money and make money.
Yeah.
And I think we like doing that, and we've got a proven track record of doing it. So the more experience that we've got in the space, the less concerned I am, because we've got such a good track record.
I think the
of
only
taking that
issue
money.
is not spreading yourself too thin, which we've heard a lot recently as well, is can LeBron James be the best basketball player on the planet? Yes. Can he also be an amazing NFL player, potentially? Can he play professional baseball, professional football, and professional basketball and do everything great and not get, no, probably not. So there's always like a line for everybody. So if you start 3 or 4 different small businesses and only devote 10% of your time to each, they're all probably going to fail, opposed to going all in on 1 or 2. So
I agree with that, but I look at ourselves as a lot less as a player and more like a Mark Cuban. And a Mark Cuban takes that capital and says, I want this coach and this GM, and I have the money to hire them to decide the players, and then we've got the money to hire these players, and they're going to have to do that. And I'm going to put really great people in really great positions. But every venture,
I think, at this level anyway, it's a certain amount of time you have to devote to it.
Absolutely.
So you would agree you couldn't run 9 STN digitals right now. That'd be, I mean, sure, you could try.
One is hard.
You could try, but then you would only be able to take 1 call per week per company, and just probably wouldn't be good from a sales
Absolutely.
standpoint.
Yeah. But that's the one thing is, with the capital, a lot of times you're able to really get people in positions and hire up front, hire in front of all this work that you're doing.
Yeah. Instead of having to hold for 3 months because you don't have the capital. You know?
Totally. And 4 years ago, I would have been like, I'm never taking $1 from anybody, because I would look at that as debt. But in an equity position in something, everybody's got great.
But we've also
upside.
We've turned down 4 or 5 clients in a month because we weren't able to scale up enough, and we had to hold on. We've done that multiple times in our company. So is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the hardest things that we're still trying to figure out is who to hire. We can hire in front of anything, but who do we need to hire? What skill set specifically? And that's been one of those questions.
We need 4
that's
more
hard to answer.
Johns and 3 more aunties. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.